What happens to the soul after death? Ancient Wisdom and Modern Insights, by David Russo. Since the dawn of human consciousness, one question has both haunted and inspired us. What happens to the soul after death? This inquiry is more than philosophical curiosity. It is a deeply spiritual instinct, a yearning to understand the nature of our own existence and the destiny of that which seems most uniquely ours, the soul. Across cultures, throughout history, and in the silence of personal reflection, humans have sought to peer beyond the veil of mortality, to glimpse what lies beyond the life we know. In this audiobook, we will explore the journey of the soul from multiple perspectives: ancient and modern, Eastern and Western, mystical and experiential. We will examine the teachings of civilizations long past, from the Egyptians and Greeks to Hindu and indigenous traditions, and discover how their stories of the afterlife reflect timeless truths about the essence of being. We will then move through Eastern philosophies, where death is viewed not as an ending, but as a transition within the ongoing cycle of life, and Western mystical traditions, where the soul is seen as moving toward union with a higher consciousness. We will also consider the insights of contemporary spirituality, the reports of near-death experiences, psychic studies, and personal encounters with the departed, revealing that our understanding of the soul continues to evolve. Beyond learning what others have believed, this journey invites you to explore your own soul's lessons, to see life as a classroom, and to recognize death as a doorway rather than a boundary. Ultimately, this audiobook is not about delivering absolute answers. It is about cultivating wonder, nurturing courage, and embracing the profound mystery that lies at the heart of existence. As we explore the soul's journey together, you may find that the real gift of this inquiry is not in what we discover after death, but in how it transforms the way we live today, with compassion, curiosity, and a deeper sense of connection to all that is eternal. Chapter 1: The Question of the Soul. From the moment we become aware of our own existence, we begin to wonder, who am I, really? And inevitably, we ask the question that has echoed through every age and across every culture: what happens to the soul after death? This question is more than intellectual curiosity, it is the spark of spirituality itself. It is the whisper in the quiet of the night, the pulsava that reminds us we are more than flesh and bone, more than thought or memory. The soul, that intangible essence of who we are, has long fascinated humanity. Ancient civilizations painted it in art, carved it into monuments, and wove it into stories of life beyond the grave. Philosophers debated its nature. Mystics sought to experience it directly. And today, scientists and spiritual explorers alike study consciousness, near-death experiences, and the subtle signs that hint at existence beyond the physical. Why does this question matter? Because how we think about the soul shapes how we live. Fear of death, denial of the unknown, or ignorance of the soul's purpose can make life feel heavy, fragmented, or urgent in the wrong ways. But contemplating the soul's journey opens a different path, one of curiosity, reverence, and conscious living. To wonder about what happens after death is not morbid, it is an invitation to understand life more deeply, to embrace each moment with awareness, and to cultivate the qualities of the spirit that truly endure. In this chapter, we will explore the mystery itself. We will honor the timeless human desire to understand what lies beyond, and we will begin to see, at the very act of asking these questions, is a form of spiritual practice. The journey we are about to take is not only about discovering what may await us after death, but about awakening to the life that is unfolding before us now. Each question we ask, each insight we encounter, becomes a step along the path of the soul, a path that begins in this life but continues beyond it in ways we may only glimpse, feel, and intuit. Chapter 2: Ancient Wisdom on the Afterlife. Long before modern science or contemporary spirituality, humanity sought to understand the fate of the soul through stories, rituals, and symbols. Across civilizations, death was never seen as a simple ending. It was a transition, a journey, a passage into realms beyond ordinary sight. The Egyptians, for example, believed the soul continued after death, navigating the underworld, facing judgment, and ultimately seeking union with the divine. Tombs, pyramids, and elaborate funerary rites were not just monuments, they were maps for the soul, guiding it safely on its journey. In Greece, philosophers and poets spoke of Hades, the realm of shades, where the soul lingered and reflected the deeds of its earthly life. The myths reminded people that life and death were intertwined, and that moral and spiritual choices had consequences, beyond the material world. Far to the east, Hindu and Buddhist traditions embrace cycles of rebirth, where the soul, or Atman, traveled through countless lives, learning, growing, and evolving toward liberation. In these traditions, death was not a conclusion, but a doorway, an opportunity for the soul to continue its journey and refine its understanding of existence. Even in indigenous cultures across the Americas, Africa, and Oceania, death was honored as a sacred threshold. The ancestors were revered as guides and protectors, and rituals ensured that the living remained connected to the wisdom of those who had walked the earth before them. In every tradition, there is a common thread: the soul matters, the soul persists, and the soul's journey continues in ways both mysterious and profound. As we explore these ancient perspectives, we see that humanity has always understood death as more than a biological event. It is a spiritual passage, a continuation of the soul's unfolding. These teachings offer more than comfort, they offer guidance for living, reminding us that life is a preparation, a classroom for the soul, and that our actions, intentions, and love have meaning far beyond the visible world. To learn from ancient wisdom is to reconnect with the deep human recognition that the soul is eternal, and that death, rather than being an end, is part of a story far greater than ourselves. Chapter 3: The Soul in Eastern Philosophy. In the East, the soul has long been seen not as a fixed entity, but as a spark of eternal consciousness, moving through cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. Hindu philosophy speaks of Atman, the true self, which is timeless and unchanging, distinct from the fleeting body and mind. Life, in this view, is a journey of learning, a series of lessons designed to help the soul recognize its divine nature. Death, then, is not an ending but a transformation, a step along the infinite path toward liberation, or moksha. Buddhism offers a similar, yet distinct, perspective. It teaches that all things are impermanent, including the self we think we know. The soul, or consciousness, continues, flowing from life to life, guided by karma, the accumulated energy of our actions. Through mindfulness, compassion, and meditation, we learn to release attachment, to see beyond the illusions of separation, and to move toward nirvana, the state of ultimate freedom from suffering. Taoism, too, views life and death as part of a seamless flow, the eternal Tao. Death is simply a return to the natural rhythm, emerging once again with the source from which all life arises. These Eastern traditions invite us to look at death not with fear, but with awareness. The soul's journey is vast, and our brief time in this body is but one chapter. The cycles of existence are not punishments or rewards, they are opportunities for growth, for refinement, for awakening to the eternal essence within us. By understanding the soul in this way, we begin to see life as a sacred practice where every thought, every action, and every encounter becomes part of a larger tapestry, guiding us toward wisdom, compassion, and inner freedom. Eastern philosophy teaches that death is not a boundary, but a passage, a gentle reminder that our true nature is limitless. When we embrace this perspective, we can live with a deeper sense of purpose, appreciating each moment, while recognizing that the soul's journey continues far beyond the horizon of the physical world. Chapter 4: Western Mysticism and the Soul. In the Western world, the soul has long been seen as a divine spark, a sacred essence created to return to its source. From Christian mystics to Kabbalistic sages, from Sufi poets to medieval philosophers, the soul is viewed as on a journey of purification, learning, and ultimate reunion with the divine. In these traditions, life is a preparation, a testing ground, and death is the threshold through which the soul passes to continue its ascent toward higher consciousness. Christian mysticism often speaks of the soul's journey through trial and transformation. Heaven, hell, and purgatory are not merely places, but states of consciousness, reflections of how closely the soul has aligned with love, compassion, and divine truth. The mystics remind us that life is a spiritual laboratory, where the soul learns through suffering, joy, and the practice of virtue. In Kabbalah, the soul descends into the physical world to fulfill a divine mission, to repair the cracks in the universe, and to grow closer to the infinite. Sufism, the mystical heart of Islam, describes the soul as a traveler in search of God's love, moving through stages of awakening until it experiences the ultimate union with the beloved. What is striking across these Western perspectives is the emphasis on conscious evolution. The soul is not passive, it is active, seeking, learning, and striving toward wholeness. Death is not a punishment, nor merely a natural occurrence. It is a sacred passage, a continuation of the soul's journey into light, understanding, and unity with the greater whole. By exploring these teachings, we begin to see that Western mysticism, like its Eastern counterparts, views life and death as inseparable. Every moment offers an opportunity for the soul to grow, to purify itself, and to prepare for what lies beyond. The soul's journey is both personal and universal, intimate yet connected to all creation. And in understanding these teachings, we are reminded that the questions we ask about death are not morbid. They are the compass guiding us toward the divine within and beyond ourselves. Chapter 5. Modern Spiritual Insights. In our modern era, the soul's journey has become a field not only of philosophy and religion but of exploration, experience, and even science. Today, people are looking beyond dogma, seeking evidence and personal encounters that speak to the continuity of consciousness after death. Near-death experiences, psychic studies, and stories of those who have glimpsed the beyond suggest that the soul may persist, guiding, observing, and learning even when the body ceases to function. Near-death experiences are perhaps the most compelling of these modern insights. People report floating above their bodies, moving through tunnels of light, and encountering beings of profound love and wisdom. These accounts, though deeply personal, share striking similarities across cultures, ages, and beliefs, hinting at a universal dimension of the soul that transcends the boundaries of individual identity. Psychic studies and mediumship further suggest that communication with departed souls is possible, that the veil between worlds is thinner than we imagine, and that love, guidance, and messages can traverse the apparent divide between life and death. Modern spiritual thinkers also emphasize that the soul's journey is not just about what happens after death, it is about what these glimpses teach us while we are alive. Encounters with the beyond often inspire compassion, courage, and a deeper sense of purpose. They remind us that life is not fleeting in its meaning, even if the body is temporary, and that our choices, intentions, and connections have resonance beyond the visible world. What emerges from these contemporary insights is a vision of the soul that is alive, active, and eternal. Science may not fully explain it, and reason may struggle to grasp it, yet experience, intuition, and shared stories point to a reality in which death is not an ending but a continuation. The soul, it seems, is always on the move, growing, learning, and returning to the greater whole. By paying attention to these modern revelations, we are invited to see life and death with wonder, reverence, and an openness to the mysteries that have captivated humanity for millennia. Chapter 6. The Soul's Lessons. Life is often described as a journey, but from the perspective of the soul, it is also a classroom. Every experience, every challenge, and every moment of joy or sorrow is an opportunity for learning, growth, and refinement. The soul does not simply pass through life as a passive observer, it is actively engaged, gathering wisdom, understanding, and insight that cannot be measured by material success or fleeting pleasure. Death, then, is not a punishment or a termination, it is the graduation ceremony, the moment when the soul takes the lessons it has learned and carries them into a broader, more expansive existence. Across spiritual traditions, the idea of karmic lessons or spiritual growth is central. In some teachings, the soul returns again and again, through cycles of birth and rebirth, until it has learned what it came to learn. In others, life is a single but rich opportunity to confront attachment, fear, and limitation, cultivating qualities like compassion, patience, and love. Each hardship, each encounter with another human being, and each triumph of the spirit is a thread in the intricate tapestry of the soul's evolution. Understanding the soul's purpose can profoundly change the way we approach life. It encourages us to see challenges as teachers, to approach others with empathy, and to cherish the fleeting moments that carry lasting significance. Death, then, becomes less a source of fear and more a reminder of the sacredness of the present. It reminds us that the soul's journey is continuous, that every experience matters, and that the essence of who we are is eternal, even if the body is temporary. In contemplating the lessons of the soul, we begin to see life itself as sacred. We learn that every thought, word, and action shapes not only our destiny but the evolution of our consciousness. By embracing this perspective, we step into life with awareness, gratitude, and courage, recognizing that the soul's journey is the ultimate adventure, a journey that continues beyond time, beyond the body, and beyond death itself. Chapter 7. Beyond time and space, if life is a river, then death is not the end of the current, it is the point at which the soul flows into an ocean without boundaries. Many spiritual traditions, both ancient and modern, suggest that the soul is not confined by linear time or the limitations of physical space. It exists in a realm where past, present, and future converge, where the essence of consciousness is eternal, and where life and death are simply different expressions of the same reality. In this understanding, the soul's journey is not measured in years or decades, nor is it contained by the walls of the body. Instead, the soul moves freely, unbound, experiencing existence in ways that defy human logic. Some describe it as a return to the source, a reunion with the universal consciousness from which all life arises. Others speak of timeless awareness, in which the soul witnesses the unfolding of the cosmos and participates in creation in subtle, unseen ways. In every case, the lesson is clear: the soul is limitless. Contemplating the soul beyond time and space invites a profound shift in perspective. We begin to see that our fears, anxieties, and attachments are often tied to the illusion of separation. Life's trials lose some of their weight when viewed from the vantage of eternity. We recognize that every thought, every choice, every act of love resonates far beyond the immediate moment, weaving into a larger tapestry of consciousness that transcends our individual existence. This perspective does not remove the mystery of death, it deepens it, allowing us to approach life and mortality with humility, awe, and reverence. When we embrace the idea that the soul exists beyond time and space, we begin to live differently, more fully, more compassionately, and more courageously. We understand that life is but one part of an infinite journey, and that the soul, ever radiant, continues onward, exploring realms and dimensions that are beyond our current comprehension. Chapter 8: Communicating with the Departed. Even as the soul moves beyond the physical body, many spiritual traditions and modern experiences suggest that connection is never truly lost. Across cultures and centuries, humans have sought ways to reach the departed not out of fear, but out of love, curiosity, and the desire for guidance. Through meditation, prayer, dreams, and the practice of mediumship, countless people have reported moments of profound connection, receiving comfort, wisdom, and reassurance that the soul continues its journey. Dreams often become the first portal to this unseen realm. In dreams, we may encounter loved ones who have passed, sharing messages, encouragement, or simply their presence. Meditation and prayer can also open the heart to subtle impressions and intuitive insights, allowing us to sense guidance from souls beyond the veil. In more structured forms, such as spiritualist sessions or psychic readings, people have reported strikingly detailed communications, evidence, perhaps, that the soul's consciousness is not confined by the boundaries of our physical reality. The significance of these experiences goes beyond curiosity about the afterlife. They remind us that life and death are deeply interconnected, that love is enduring, and that the bonds we form in this world may ripple into the next. Communicating with the departed can also inspire reflection on our own life, on the values we embody, the relationships we nurture, and the legacy we leave behind. The presence of the soul, even when unseen, becomes a guide, a teacher, and a source of comfort. Ultimately, these connections offer a glimpse into the continuity of existence. They encourage us to live with awareness, to honor the invisible threads that link all beings, and to recognize that death is not a barrier, but a doorway. The departed remind us that the journey of the soul continues, that love transcends form, and that we are never truly alone even when the physical world suggests otherwise. Chapter 9: Personal Transformation Through Understanding Death. Contemplating the soul's journey and the mystery of death is not meant to instill fear, it is meant to transform us. When we truly consider that the essence of who we are is eternal, that life extends beyond the body, we begin to live differently. Fear of loss diminishes, resentment softens, and a deeper compassion naturally emerges. Understanding death is not morbid, it is liberating. It invites us to see life as precious, every encounter as meaningful, and every choice as a step along the soul's path. This transformation is subtle but profound. People who confront the reality of death with openness often report a heightened sense of clarity, a greater appreciation for the present moment, and a renewed commitment to living authentically. The awareness that our time here is finite sharpens our focus on what truly matters: love, connection, creativity, and service. Life becomes less about accumulation or comparison, and more about depth, purpose, and the cultivation of inner virtues. The soul's journey also teaches patience and humility. We begin to understand that challenges, suffering, and setbacks are not punishments, but lessons, opportunities for growth, empathy, and spiritual refinement. By embracing the lessons of mortality, we learn to approach life with courage, to face uncertainty with equanimity, and to navigate change with grace. Death, rather than being an end, becomes a mirror that reflects the values, priorities, and intentions that will guide our soul forward. Ultimately, understanding death transforms our approach to life. It awakens a sense of awe for the interconnectedness of all beings, a reverence for the impermanence of the physical world, and a recognition that the soul's journey is infinite. When we integrate this awareness, we live not in fear of what is to come, but in mindful engagement with what is, cherishing the present, nurturing the soul, and preparing for the continuation of consciousness beyond this life. Chapter 10, Embracing the Mystery. At the heart of our exploration lies a profound truth: the journey of the soul cannot be fully mapped, measured, or defined. No teaching, story, or modern study can capture the entirety of what awaits beyond the physical life. And perhaps this is the point. The mystery of the soul invites us not to know everything, but to live fully, to remain curious, and to cultivate a spiritual courage that embraces the unknown. To embrace the mystery is to accept that uncertainty is not a limitation, but an essential part of the spiritual path. It is a call to humility and acknowledgement that our human minds, vast and brilliant as they are still only glimpsing fragments of a much larger reality. And yet, within this humility lies liberation. When we release the need for concrete answers, we open ourselves to wonder, awe, and a deeper connection to life itself. This openness transforms how we approach both life and death. We begin to see that each experience, joy, sorrow, love, challenge, is a teacher. We learn to trust the unfolding of our own spiritual journey, to honor the rhythms of life, and to recognize that the soul's path continues beyond what the eyes can see. We cultivate practices, rituals, and reflections that allow us to feel connected to the eternal, to listen to the whispers of intuition, and to honor the presence of those who have passed. Ultimately, embracing the mystery is an act of faith not in a rigid doctrine, but in the continuity, resilience, and beauty of the soul. It reminds us that life is sacred, death is natural, and consciousness endures in ways we may never fully comprehend. By leaning into this mystery, we awaken to a life lived with presence, compassion, and courage, knowing that the journey of the soul continues, eternally unfolding, in ways that are as limitless as the universe itself. Conclusion: living with the soul in mind. As we reach the end of this journey through the mysteries of the soul, one truth becomes clear: the question of what happens after death is inseparable from the way we live today. Throughout history, from ancient civilizations to modern spiritual seekers, humanity has looked beyond the physical, seeking meaning, guidance, and connection. And across all traditions, one thread remains constant: the soul is eternal, and our lives are an opportunity to nurture, honor, and awaken it. This journey has shown us that death is not an ending, but a doorway, a passage into a larger reality, a continuation of consciousness beyond the limitations of time and space. The teachings of the East remind us of cycles, rebirth, and the impermanence of life. Western mysticism invites us to seek union with the divine and to approach existence with love and integrity. Modern insights offer stories and experiences that suggest the soul's journey continues in ways both subtle and profound. But perhaps the most important lesson of all is that these teachings are not merely theoretical, they are meant to transform how we live. Contemplating the soul and the mystery of death encourages courage, compassion, and presence. It invites us to value each relationship, each moment, and each choice, understanding that the ripples of our actions extend far beyond what we can see. Ultimately, embracing the mystery of the soul is an act of love and trust. It is an invitation to live fully, to honor the unknown, and to cultivate a connection with the eternal that transcends fear. The soul's journey continues, ever unfolding, and by awakening to this reality, we step into life with deeper awareness, gratitude, and purpose. May this understanding guide you, comfort you, and inspire you to live with the wisdom of the soul as your companion, today and always.